For many of us, if we are honest, we live in a box that we have created for our safety, likely not even realizing that we've created it, right? This is a box that is constructed by the metrics of success that we have found that keep us safe and keep us in the role of being a really high achiever. And truthfully, we're really good at it, right? So we have learned how to be in the box and be the superstar in the box and be the best at being in the box and being the best at achieving the metrics that create the walls of the box. And here's the problem with this, right? Because when we really tap into what our heart desires, most likely, if not ever, it's actually ever in the box. But yet our human nervous system that is running on this default fight or flight programming loves the box because of safety. So we're in this kind of mismatch, this dichotomy of we're really good at being in the box and we're rewarded for being in the box. And we figured out how to check all of the boxes, no pun intended, of being in the box, right? But yet we know it's not where we want to be. We feel trapped. We feel stuck. We have visions and dreams of where we know we want to go and the ways of being and the way we want our life to feel that don't equal the box. So today we're going to unravel this. We're going to unravel this in a deeper level so that you can see what you are gauging as your metrics of success, as your ways that you have provided safety for yourself to fit in, to succeed, to achieve the things you set out to achieve, but might not really be serving you in this current moment. Welcome back to Whole Human Capacity. In today's episode, I'm very excited to talk about this because I think this is a key pivotal piece of self-discovery that opens the door for a lot of growth and expansion, but it's hard. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's the piece of the puzzle that nobody really wants to do sometimes. And I'm going to invite you into this today. We're going to invite you into this conversation that I think is an essential piece of developing what I kind of call your zero hustle plan, like your way of living that's energetically aligned to you, where you're living your life your way on your terms. So when we are visionaries and creatives and we have a purpose in life that just wants to exude from us, many times we get to this place and we start to feel really stuck. This is what I see in all my clients. This is where I was. We start seeing where we want to go. We start having pieces of the puzzle pop in, and that's been a wonderful thing. But yet there's this process that happens where we start to take action towards that thing in the way that we think we're supposed to take action towards that thing and to that way of living that we think we really want. But what we haven't taken the time to do, because we really didn't even know we needed to do it, at least I didn't until I've walked this, was really uncover how we are judging our progress, how we are gauging our progress. Because we can take all the steps in the world, right, towards something. But if we're gauging our progress of the way that we're doing it, and if we're making it or not, and if it's working or not, on metrics that we used that kept us in the box, that served a part of our life where we probably were in hustle and grind, and for many of us, where we were likely in a corporate setting of some kind, where leadership and success and whether the department's doing well enough or not was based on numbers and different line items and these different scales that are used, right? And so if we're not onto ourselves, if we don't take this time to uncover this, what I find is we never fully get traction. And for those of us who have this drive in us to create and to do and to live, and we can see it and we know it, we feel that mismatch very intensely. I know this because I've walked it. I've lived this. I still live this. I think we are in this continual process of uncovering and unlayering what we have defined in the past for ourselves subconsciously, not even realizing it, as metrics of success, right? These are what we are judging ourselves against. So I purposefully and intentionally am devoting a whole episode to this because I think that this is a very key pivotal piece for you to actually have traction. It is that essential, right? And it is that essential because it is the piece that's going to help you move the needle. Otherwise, you're going to be doing things doing your own inner work, doing all this stuff, and you're actually not going to see the progress you want to make. And today, what I'm inviting you into is an exploratory process and a kind of an inventory, so to speak, like I like to talk about, where you are able to uncover layer by layer what is there for you and what you are likely holding yourself to, not even realizing it. But I'm going to give you a caveat here, because many times the most important parts of the process, the pieces that are going to actually move the needle in anything we want in life, are the parts that our brain dismisses and says, you're not going to really want to do that. Maybe this isn't really that important. And I just want to give you a clue. When you start hearing those words and when you start being like, I can skip this one and I can move on to like the dreaming part and go back to the vision and see where I'm going to be in the future, all that's great. All of that is great. But if you're skipping these small middle steps beyond yourself, because it's a safety pattern, in my opinion, where we are conserving energy. Our brain doesn't want to work that hard because we're shifting identities. And what actually yields in the end game is that you don't get what you really desire. I'm just going to be straight up. So today, buckle down. Go in. Let's get to work, people, because this is where the money's at. This is where, if you focus your attention on this and you invite yourself into the questions I'm going to share with you towards the end of the episode, I think you're really going to find that you're going to see actual movement happen and towards what you really desire. I am intentionally using the word metric, and I did this for myself a long time ago. Because in my world of medicine, there's a lot of metrics. And these metrics were ones that, you kind of hung your hat on. Where'd you fit in the scale? Where'd you line up? How are you doing? How you're not doing? Even in med school and residency, right? In our training, there's metrics to hit to make sure that you're competent in certain skills and things of that nature. So I'm not saying don't serve a purpose. But what I'm offering to you is words have power. And for me personally, I'm sharing this, and maybe this is you. The word metric for a while held a lot of power over me, where it was this thing that I needed to measure up to, that I wasn't good enough if I didn't hit that metric, right? If I didn't get the A on the test, or if my patient satisfaction scores weren't here, or in primary care, like the A1Cs of my patients weren't here, right? These metrics that we use, and I'm sure whatever industry you're in, there are metrics in any capacity. And frankly, if you are not necessarily in an industry, and even I would just say as a parent, we have metrics for ourselves. We have metrics that were set by likely, our family of origin or our lineage or what we culturally see around us. So this word metric, I think, is an intentional word to dive into, because I think you can approach language in a couple different ways. One is you can kind of dance around it. And if you need to, for where your nervous system is at, you can kind of put that word on the back burner for a little bit and use a different word that might feel a little bit more soothing to your nervous system. However, I personally find another strategy that is very effective is to go right at the heart of the word, digging in and asking yourself, like, what does this word mean to me? What does my body do when I hear this word? What situations have I been in where this word pops up and I have a response to that word? When we go into it that way, I find that the power comes back into our hands, because now what we've done is we've neutralized the word. And the energy then becomes something that we can say, okay, energy is energy. Just like anything in the world, it's not like that, so I put meaning to it. So what meaning now do I want to give to the word metric? And that will be our next podcast. But just planting that seed of like, okay, if this is in my hands, if I get to define the metrics, what do I want? What do I desire? So today we're going to go into current state. We are going to delve into your current metrics and how you feel about them. What comes up in your nervous system when you hear that word, when you tap into them, and where do they come from? Sometimes you don't always need to know where they come from. Sometimes knowing where certain patterns or feeling states in our body come from are very helpful. You'll know for you what it is, but either way, my mission today, my goal, the purpose of this is to open up the door for you to find entry points into seeing what your current status is behind the scenes, right? What the default patterning is that you're running on, the program that's driving everything, and what you're evaluating yourself on, how you literally are calibrating and telling yourself if it's working or not working. I also want to offer that when you're a high achiever, I think there's this piece that we implement that keeps us being a high achiever, and it serves a purpose, but you also need to know it's there. It's where we don't slow down and we don't take time to evaluate. And we don't take time to really ask ourselves what's working? What evidence is actually happening? How am I actually really doing a good job at whatever I'm doing? Many times when we talk about the word metrics, I find for myself and my clients, what the default patterning is you're not doing enough. You're not doing a good enough job on any metric. Because as long as we're not doing a good enough job, we will stay in the achieving energy flow, right? We'll stay moving in achievement, which is fine if achievement is your overall life goal. I would argue that I don't think it really is for us. I think achievement is not the goal. I really think fulfillment is the goal. Embodiment is the goal. Experiential wisdom development is the goal, right? So today, these questions I'm going to ask you next are to help you get to that place where we're defining for you where things are at in the line of how you are evaluating yourself, your life, your business, your work, your parenthood, your relationships, everything. Okay. So if you're driving or whatever, you can do this another time, do the best of your ability. But if you can right now, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath and put your hand on your heart. And after you take another deep breath, say the word metric. And with no judgment, no anything, allow whatever wants to come through and see what thoughts come to your mind. Maybe like me, sometimes you have visions or flashbacks. Maybe there's imagery that pops in. How is your body feeling when you hear the word metric? What sensations are you getting? Take a few minutes. If you need to pause this, pause it and write down, or just really do like a true debrief, let it come in and don't just kind of rush past this. And if you are, maybe come back to it another time, because I intentionally design these podcasts as if you were my client. You can do this work right now and get massive results. So this is an opportunity for you if you choose to take it. The next thing that I want to offer to you is that you've understood what kind of comes through for you is to tap into this word credibility. I find for my clients and in my personal experience, these metrics that we have in here, these things, they're there for one reason, especially when you're a high performer. It's credibility. Because if we can hit the metrics, then we're credible. And if we're credible, then we can get the green light, the permission to do what we want to do, what we desire to do. And in many corporate settings, right, that is legitimate, where you prove your credibility and you get promotions, or you prove your credibility and you get the new project that comes in, or right. So there is this cycle there that really does hold true. What I'd also like to offer is I think we hold ourselves credible to these metrics to give ourselves permission to actually go beyond the box and do what we desire. But here's the problem. If we're holding ourselves to standards, to metrics of credibility, quote unquote, that actually aren't going to yield any credibility outside of this box that we've created, can you see how we're in a loop that does not lovingly help us move towards what we desire? So what I want to ask you now is to take a step back for a minute. Nobody else is going to see this. Nobody else needs to know about this. But when you look at somebody else that you admire, what characteristics about them do you see as credible? What metrics are they hitting, quote unquote, that prove that they're credible? And then go into you. What metrics do you need to hit to be credible for your idea, for your vision, for what you see unfolding for your life to be credible? Which also means, in a different way of rephrasing the question, what do you need to do to get permission to prove that this is viable and that you can do it and it's a worthwhile endeavor? Isn't that interesting, right? In the last podcast, we talked about the worthy hard, the worthwhile endeavors that are just the worthy hard because we know deep down they're worth it. They're worthy. There's something bigger than us driving it. But fascinatingly, for many of us, we have these metrics that prove that we're credible or not credible, which also proves if something's viable or not viable, which means it's then proves whether or not it's worthwhile to invest our energy or not. It's all fascinating to me, right? all these beautiful layers of protection and safety. And I would also offer old operating systems that served a purpose if you were in environments where those types of tactics served a purpose. But if you're stepping out of those environments, I can tell you with certainty, because again, I come from a place of just showing you what I've lived. You will spin, and it will take a lot of your energy, because it's like you're playing two different games. The game that has the rules of the metrics that you built your life on so far and that you're currently living on, which is the game of the box, is not the same game that you're going to play outside the box, which means there's not the same rules. There's not even the same equipment in the game. Like, there's not even the same like type of field or strategy or like anything. It is like night and day. So the more you understand this, the more you're able to set yourself up to truly succeed in the ways that you desire to succeed. Third inventory, third way in here is, if you choose, and if it feels like aligned to you, is to ask yourself, where did these metrics come from? You may get to know, I don't really need to know what they are. I just need to know what they are, and I can go from there. But if you desire to go in a little bit deeper, to understand where they're coming from, ask this question, like, is this from my childhood? Is this from my professional training? Is this from my current industry that I'm in? Is these metrics, these like layers of necessary success metrics, are these from like my current social group, my culture? And you can go a layer deeper and then ask yourself, like, what identity have I created? This is a humbling question, right? What identity have I created that knocked it out of the park, people, with these metrics in the box? What was that identity? And it's without judgment. It's just purely observational awareness, but to really understand, like, what is that? Because it's so good for you to know who you are when you are the individual who is at the top echelon of the metrics of success for the box. And once you've uncovered that, here's a key piece that I find is kind of like a linchpin, or, a real high level key to help you, that I've found working with my clients and truly myself too, is that there's usually one, maybe two of these metrics that have the strongest hold on you, right? These are the ones that you're like, I'll be credible when. My idea will prove to everybody that it's successful when, right? I have arrived when. And it can be anything. For many of us, it's some sort of salary that we've made. It's some sort of title we've gotten, right? It's some sort of way that maybe our body looks, maybe our life looks. Like, just be honest. Nobody's going to see this but you. But I'm telling you right now, do not cover this up. One of the greatest things that will slow you down and give you so much torment and strife, because again, I've lived it, I've done it, is this perfectionist thing of like, oh, that's not me. This is us, people. We're human. This is the human experience, especially the human experience of somebody who desires more and greater things. And we just have to accept it and love ourselves through it. Because once we know this information, game changer. Here's what I think happens. If you've ever read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, first of all, it's an amazing book. It helps explain a lot of what I'm talking about today in really wonderful language. But he talks about this idea of the upper limit, and this is how he defines it. He says it's when you attain higher levels of success, you often create personal dramas in your life that cloud your world with unhappiness and prevent you from enjoying your enhanced success. Right? That's his definition in the book. And here's what I think happens. I think that there are 1 to 2 of these metrics of success that are the repeated patterns that we use to create the personal drama. Right? Like, one could be, if your measures of success, like for true credibility, is I hit, $1 million in my net worth, or my business generates 500 grand this year, whatever word it is for you, number it is for you. What's going to happen is you're going to have like a great month. You're going to bring in, let's say, I don't know, for you, what could be your highest month yet, right? Whatever that number is. And what's going to happen is you're like, but it's not 500. And that's, if you don't keep that up, you're not going to add up to 500 grand. That's not going to get you to the million. And you're going to use that metrics of success as the logical path that makes so much sense in your brain that you're going to believe it. It's going to be the storyline of that personal drama. And it's going to bring you right back into the box, right? If you take a 30,000 foot view without any, judgment towards this. This is the brain doing what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to keep us safe and into the familiar. It's supposed to not use a lot of energy and keep us efficient in the way things have always been, which is staying inside the box. But your dreams don't fit in that box. I guarantee you, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Like, your dreams don't fit in the box. So this is where the frustration comes. This is where the wanting to give up comes, because we step outside the box, we do, and we take our intuition is guiding us towards, but we're not ready and prepared and have the support system around us to tackle the metrics that are coming in for credibility, right? That are coming back in to upper limit us, to bring us back down. What I think really happens too is that I would say it sounds mean in your head, at least to me, like this, some people call it the mean girl or that mean voice, right? It's basically that part of you that's telling you you don't have what it takes to leave the box. You're not credible. You don't have it. This idea is not viable. You can't run your family that way. You can't have a life that good. So before you even get 2 feet out of the door of the box, you come back in because you start to believe it. To me, this is the trap of the high achiever, because we always want to be doing enough, but yet when we do what we think is going to be enough, it's not enough because we're not meeting this arbitrary metric of success that we've defined. It's a trick. I know it. I know it well. I know it well. And it is so incredibly costly to your life, to your divine energy, to your life force, to your time with your family, to your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health. I personally believe that this is one of the key drivers of what would be labeled as like chronic disease, like this cycle where you go and you go and come back, and you go and you come back, this upper limiting cycle. And when you've lived it and you see it very clearly and you have the life experience like I'm speaking from to really understand the toll that it takes on you, I implore you to listen to this because I am showing you the way that this doesn't have to be you. Because here's what happens. Not truly taking the time to uncover our current metrics of success and see what we're judging ourselves up against. Subconscious, like in the background, right? What this does is it keeps people, it will keep you, it'll keep me, it keeps all of us in the state of regretting that we never lived the life we truly wanted. Because every time we take one step out of the box, we come right back in. And if you can get to the place where you see these clearly and you do not accept these metrics as truth, right? This cycle happens because we're like, oh yeah, that's true. That does make sense. Oh yeah, I didn't hit that target. I didn't hit that number. I could have done a better job, right? Don't get me wrong. There's a time for evaluation and debriefing and like getting better and saying, these are things I know I can improve on. But you and I both know that's not the energy this is coming from. That's not the place that this is coming from. This is coming from, shouldn't have even tried. Shouldn't have even tried. Look at how they're judging you. Look at what you did. Look at how you didn't make it. Look at all that time you did to build that thing and it just didn't work the way you wanted it to work, which in 99% of all cases, it's not going to work the way you want it to work first time around, right? There is this worthy hard. That's why I led this series of podcasts with the worthy hard, like the worthy hard, because this is the hard. This is the hard. This is the hard of looking yourself in the eye and understanding at a very primal, lovingly deep, heart-centered level of where and how you are judging yourself and your progress. And seeing it so incredibly crystal clear that it rocks you. Like it rocks you. It is so evident. It is so clear. Your clarity of what you are actually doing and how you're actually evaluating things is so clear that you now can come to neutrality. But this is the hard. This is the hard. It is walking in and feeling it and living it. And for many of us, reliving it. And also, I would offer, as you do this process, what will happen is you'll say, okay, well, these are the things that made me an amazing leader in my corporate position. But I know deep down that's not going to work for this. Like, there's a whole different skill set needed to step outside the box. And what might happen many times happens is you will say, that's a lot of work. Like, I was really good at leading that way. I can do that. Do I know if I can do it over here? Do I know if I can learn a new skill set, a new way of being, create a different identity for myself, tapping more and more who I am and letting that lead? If you can do that, that's the hard work. That's the hard work of the worthy hard. That's where it's worth it. Because once you bridge that gap and you move through that, and we will talk about this in the next podcast, and then you start to now evaluate your life, your progress, your way of living on your metrics. Oh my goodness. You take one step out of the box and you keep going. That lights me up so much. I want this for you. If this is for you, it is here for you. And so if this is for you and you're getting a yes to this and you want to dive into this, you can go back and listen to this again. And I have an amazing gift for you in the show notes. Take a look. It walks you through this process. It will give you the questions that will give you the ability to respond and pull out the answers for you. And you can do it once, twice, 3 times, layer by layer, just like the onion, and go deeper and deeper so that you get your clarity, so that you get to the place where these words, these metrics don't hold you back, where you're not asking for permission by saying, look, I deserve to be here because I've generated X amount of income, or I have X degree now after my name and I deserve to be here, right? That's how we lived as a high achiever, right? No, you deserve to be here. You deserve to be here because you deserve to be here, because you're alive on this planet. That's it. When you can get to that place of releasing all of these metrics that once served the box so incredibly well, but you know now are not going to carry you where you want to go, things really start to unfold. And you truly do start to believe that you are worthy because you are just purely here and alive, and we're born and exist and walk this earth right now at this moment in time. And then gratitude fills your heart. That is the place that I'm offering for you to get to if you desire through this process today. So take a look at the show notes. Take a look at the gift that's there for you, the Zero Hustle plan, the plan for what you desire to come to fruition. I know you can do this. You are doing an amazing job, better than you ever imagined. Believe me when I tell you that. You are making so much progress. Even if your brain is telling you something different, you all keep going. And after you listen to this today, I know you're feeling it too. It's go time. You got this. I'll talk to you soon. Hey there. Thanks for joining me today. If this really lights you up, if you want to dive into what your current metrics for success are, and you want to see the patterns and how these definitions, these metrics are holding you back so that you can open the door to create your own metrics, your own rules for life, email me at erica@theawakeningtide.com. I'll reach back out to you. We'll schedule a time where we can come together and chat and explore what this looks like for you. And if this really resonated, please follow along, or more importantly, pass this along to somebody who you know would really, really enjoy this message today.